Turning to you now, Maxwell, you've been covering what is happening with a former Woodlawn elementary school that's being converted into a place that will house and shelter migrants, the ones who recently arrived here in Chicago. So give us the latest.
Yeah, so kind of some context citywide. The city has been dealing with migrants, mostly asylum seekers, being bused from states like Texas and Colorado, as well as arriving on their own in the city of Chicago. And city officials have said this has really overwhelmed the shelter system and the services that are in place for people that arrive. And so amid all that, Mayor Lori Lightfoot's administration at first denied that they were going to open a shelter at the former Wadsworth School in Woodlawn. But a couple months later, gave residents a couple weeks notice that this is actually going forward. We're going to start moving to start a couple hundred migrants in and then growing that over time. Mm-hmm. And the plans are going to be in place for 2 years. So these are a lot of details. It's a big development in the community. This building has been vacant for several years, and neighbors have called for it to be used for a variety of community-based functions. And so the city's move to open this as a shelter, combined with very shoddy communication and kind of a back and forth as to whether it would even happen in the first place, has caused a lot of frustration.
Let's talk about that communication, because the local alderman, Jeanette Taylor, and nearby residents, they were very upset. They said the city did not seek any more community input, before actually deciding to set up this shelter in the school. And Taylor actually said that she wants the community to have, open arms. What else are you hearing?
Yeah, so a lot of focus has been paid on the pushback. I mean, there are some very real racial tensions being brought up between mostly Black Woodlawn and the mostly, if not entirely, Latino migrants arriving. That's been a big focus in the news recently. But I also think there's a willingness in the community to say, look, the city really didn't do us right on this. They didn't communicate with us. But now there are migrants here. They moved in yesterday. And so this is happening, and how can we act on this? So especially in this past week, I've been hearing from people like, I've got this program I'm trying to get started, or these community institutions are gathering together to provide resources. So I wouldn't want to paint it all as like people are angry and anti-migrant or anything like that. Yeah. People are very angry, and in my opinion, justifiably, but it's not as if everybody is anti-migrant or really that this is all based in xenophobia, really.
Yeah. I want to jump in on this because I happen to live about 3 blocks from where this school is. Yeah, I live in Woodlawn. And what Maxwell just said is true, and I'm glad he pointed out that yes, there is some angst, some anger there, but there are also groups there. I've heard about some churches who are wanting to start, some kind of welcoming program. But there's also going on here, this is a community. Woodlawn does need resources. So yes, people question, well, we need resources too. And now you're bringing migrants in. And there's also, the alderman is not someone who gets along with the mayor. There's tension there, so the mayor is not going to get any benefit of the doubt from the alderman. But I'm glad to see that it's finally kind of starting to work out.
What's your opinion on this? Here's a comment from a YouTube watcher. Chicago 675 says, I don't know if Alderman Taylor survives this Wadsworth issue. She may be a one-term alderperson. She didn't show up to a forum last night.
She was in a runoff last time. And there are a couple other candidates who are running. I think it will depend on who turns out where.
Yeah.
And how high the turnout is. I would not be surprised to see a challenger win.
And I did just want to flag that, speaking of that pushback, 2 people yesterday tried to actually block one of the buses, or a couple of the buses, from dropping migrants off at Wadsworth. One of them was 20th Ward aldermanic candidate Andre Smith. So he's running against Taylor, has spoken out against Taylor's handling of the situation and the city's handling of the situation. And then, yesterday tried to actually stop one of the buses from dropping people off.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's tried to run before.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that. It really will depend on turnout, I think.